Hello, and welcome to Life Matters, the program where we engage life issues with critical thinking and a biblical worldview. Life Matters is an educational outreach resource of Assure Women's Center in Omaha, Nebraska. We're honored to host a variety of guests within the pro-life movement, each bringing their own unique perspectives, experiences, and backgrounds. The views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect those of Life Matters, Assure Women's Center, or our affiliates. Our goal is to foster open, thoughtful dialogue around life-affirming issues and equip listeners to stand for life.
Welcome to Life Matters, where we engage in open dialogue on life issues, equipping Christians to discuss these topics and take meaningful action in the pro-life movement. I'm your host, Tony Clark, Executive Director of Assure Women's Center. Joining us today is Jor-El Godsey, the president of Heartbeat International, an organization that equips and empowers thousands of pregnancy health centers, maternity homes, and adoption services around the world. With over 3 decades of experience, starting as a volunteer and now leading a worldwide network, Jor-El brings deep wisdom and unwavering conviction to the work of saving lives and supporting women. Jor-El, thank you so much for joining us on Life Matters today.
It's so good to be with you, Tony. Thanks for inviting me.
One of the things that I'm sure that we always talk about is being relevant. And I think technology helps us to do that. We actually just recently have a new position. It's called Research and Development. I have a director of Research and Innovation. That's how new it is. I can't remember what it is. Research and Innovation, because we realize there are some areas that we need to tap into so that we can remain relevant with these girls. Whether it's AI, how do we use AI to reach her in that little bit of time that we have before she, orders the abortion pill? How do we remain relevant so that we can grab her before she even makes that decision? How do we use our mobile unit to reach those girls, like you said, that are in those rural areas that they can't get to Omaha? Technology is certainly our friend, and we're going to try our best to figure out how to use it to our benefit.
We have to. And, kudos to you to thinking of really empowering someone to where that's their focus is research and innovation. Because, truthfully, we like to think that we want to operate with best practices, but best practices are always those that were best yesterday, and we need to have innovation for what's going to be best tomorrow. And we don't know what's best tomorrow. This, think about how our world has changed with cell phones or smartphones, I should say, and the internet, and now all of the AI that's coming on. It's like things are changing, and speed of change is so key. We need to be very intentional about it. I certainly applaud you guys for appointing that position and empowering that.
So when we hear the term quite often, we're better together. What does that mean to you in the context of this growing global network?
I love this phrase, better together. It's so multidimensional because we're better together across denominations, across the church. Our churches may look different that we meet in on Sundays, but the church is really what really powers the pro-life and certainly the pregnancy health movement by and large. And that needs to be the case. So this idea of better together, we have medical people that are in the movement now, and we love them. They're amazing. But we need others as well. We need people who maybe didn't have that training and we were built on that kind of a compassionate outreach, just loving people into life-affirming decisions. We need the generations. This is also an adventure. We need the newer generations to involve. We need all of the races involved. We need all of the ethnicities involved, because the problem is not race specific. I mean, actually, it's weighted towards the minorities for sure, which is a crime in my mind. But it's something that but the answer needs to be also a diverse answer. We need to have people from across the ethnicities to be part of this as a solution. So when I say better together, it's really the fact that we are working together. There's more of us doing more, reaching.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. One of the things I love about, once again, the Heartbeat Conference is that there's such great diversity, not just, like you said, not just race, not just age, but just different parts of the country. And so what someone is doing, maybe we can try it here. That diversity is huge. And I just really appreciate that. So now Heartbeat has been on the forefront of responding to chemical abortion. A new study from the Ethics and Public Policy Center shows that chemical abortion is at least 22 times more dangerous for women than we've been led to believe. With that, at least 1 in 10 women suffering complications. What was your reaction to that report?
Well, well, it was multi-layered. I was angry.
Yeah.
But it actually confirmed things that we knew anecdotally, right? We know that the abortion industry has been preying upon women. We know that the moves of the Biden administration recently, and then the Obama administration before, which these are were both pro-abortion administrations. Not that others in the past. I mean, the chemical abortion starts with Clinton, where the FDA gets its original research, which was actually rather thin, as we understand now. And then to realize that this is in real world, what these decisions that are made in Washington or in the state house, wherever, are leading to real complications for women. And the truth of that report is that it really focuses on physical complications. It doesn't begin to even get into the emotional, psychological, or even more the spiritual ones, which we also see evidence of. We at the Abortion Pill Rescue Network or Option Line are seeing this very same thing that you're seeing in the center right there, is that these women have been taken advantage of. They've been rushed into something that they didn't really want, and many of them are experiencing great difficulties.
Absolutely. We certainly see that here at the shore. I'd say the other thing that we see is that I'm going to say almost like a feeling of guilt. Because before, when a young lady's having a surgical abortion, this is something that was done to her. But now that she is taking this abortion pill, this is something that I've done to myself. And so where it used to, take people 10, 15 years to realize, man, I'm suffering from what I did. I think our patients are realizing it a lot sooner, and realizing, man, this is something I did to myself. And then they go home and they suffer alone. But it's just a trap.
They're still in trauma. You're right. I mean, they're presenting and they're angry.
Yeah.
They're angry at who? They're angry at themselves. They're angry at the abortionists. They're angry at whoever might be forcing or coercing them into this, or the pressure that they receive. All of that is totally understandable. But you're right. It's a very different mindset.
Yeah.
I would even add to that, Tony. It's like they're rather than there being a location that they went to. And I've been with women where you drive by and they'll point, that's where my abortion was. Like they know, like it's seared into their minds. But now the abortion industry is quite okay with turning their own bathroom or their own dorm room into the abortion clinic. And so they have the added complications. Like, again, women are being just run roughshod over for the sake of this ideology that drives abortion. And it's reprehensible. It's aggravating and it's angering, but it just points to the importance of pregnancy help all that much more.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we kind of talked a little bit about the complications that, there's serious issues like sepsis, hemorrhaging, infection, hospitalization, and surgery. And then to add to those, the mental fatigue, the spiritual effects, those kind of things. What does this tell us about the reality that women are facing when they choose abortion pills?
Well, it tells us that there is exactly that. There's more danger than what they're being led to believe. They're being sold a less than truthful image of what really is happening in abortion pills. Like, you remember the movie Unplanned showed some very powerful scenes. I heard so many testimonies of women who experienced a very difficult, very bloody experience in their own homes, in their own bathrooms. And these things are, they're trying to pass what you've heard the statement, oh, it's safer than Tylenol, right? Okay. Well, that's been debunked, by the way, but they certainly, I don't normally expect sepsis or hemorrhaging or infection or hospitalization or surgery when I take a Tylenol. Yeah. But this is the kind of lies that are being told to women. And that's what really makes them angry, because things are happening to them that they were not told in advance. That they were not told the truth. They were not told the truth about their decision, about what they're being sold. Of course, now we know that they're being just sent stuff over from after a quick internet interaction. They're being sent stuff. And I don't know if you've seen this, but I've seen packaging that was basically like, who knows where it was done, but it was handwritten, number 1 and number 2, like, take this pill first, that pill second. This is not professional stuff. And these women are being exposed to all kinds of things that it's no wonder that the real world report or a study that is being showing how much they're really being harmed.
Absolutely. You know, Jarrell, sometimes you run across that person that doesn't really understand, you know, how the abortion pill works. And this is what I have tried to explain it to him. I said, do you know anyone that's had perhaps a miscarriage? And, you know, the trauma that they went through having a miscarriage. And so when I tell them that's essentially what's happening to our girls, they're being given pills and they're being told, okay, go home and have a miscarriage on your own. Sometimes
Mhm.
no one knows, you know, boyfriend may not know, parents may not know. So they're essentially going home. A doctor, someone is sending them home to have an abortion on their own. And I feel like when someone who doesn't understand what the abortion pill does, they can relate to that because most of us know someone that has had a miscarriage and the trauma that it's caused them, you know, over the years. And so I just think sometimes if we just realize exactly what it is that we're sending these girls home to, I think our hearts would be softened and we'd be more challenged to do something about it.
I think that's a great example. You know, and some people would say that that's what essentially the abortion pill is designed to do. It's designed to initiate a miscarriage, and
Mhm.
yeah, there are things, you know, there are things that she may be telling herself, justifying her answer. Eventually, though, like you said, that they become confronted with that justification and how hollow it is, and they become angry. They've been sold something that they didn't really want. And this is what we know. Like, you know, there was a study. There was a a statistic that came out. This is probably like 2018 when I saw this first. Was um, essentially 9 out of 10 pregnant women that walked into the door of a Planned Parenthood walked out without their baby.
Mhm.
However, 8 out of 10 pregnant women that walked into a pregnancy center would choose to keep their baby.
Yeah.
Now, I know that some of those women that walked into pregnancy centers actually were okay being pregnant. They just need a little bit of help. But others were kind of in this valley of decision. But that has to also be true of of the Planned Parenthood people as well, that they were not just doing abortions on women that absolutely wanted them, but they were doing it on those that weren't sure. And they kind of were forcing them into that. And that just really shows like how it creates that it adds to that trauma and
Yeah.
hurt. And so really the issue is, which door does she walk into? Would she walk into a Planned Parenthood door, or would she walk into a pregnancy center door? But the truth is that the abortion industry is eliminating the door. They don't want her to have to walk anywhere. They want to deliver that kind of pressure, that kind of coercion right to her door. And it's just such a travesty for women.
Life Matters is the program where we engage life issues with critical thinking and a biblical worldview, and it is a ministry of Assure Women's Center. Assure Women's Center is a nationally recognized pro-life pregnancy center based in Omaha, Nebraska. Did you know that you can connect with Life Matters online? You can find all of our previous episodes to review for yourself or share with the people in your life by visiting firststeptolife.com/Life Matters, or on Facebook at First Step to Life Omaha. Sharing our episodes and encouraging us with a positive comment is a completely free way that you can help us get the pro-life message out to more people.
Welcome back to Life Matters. I'm your host, Tony Clark, Executive Director of Assure Women's Center. Joining us today is Jor-El Godsey, the president of Heartbeat International, an organization that equips and empowers thousands of pregnancy help centers, maternity homes, and adoption services around the world. So, Jor-El, considering the new studies that have come out that talks about at least 1 in 10 women are suffering complications, much more than initially reported, how do you think the pro-life community and especially pregnancy health organizations should be responding to these alarming findings?
Well, the pro-life community is doing well to get the message out. Now we need, but this is where the church needs to understand this as well. The abortion landscape has changed. Boy, you know that, I know that, but our churches don't know that. So we need to be very vocal, and the pregnancy health organizations are well positioned to make sure pastors and ministry leaders, I think of women's ministries, youth ministries, that these are the kind of people that they need to be informed, and they need to be up to date on this information, because the landscape is changing. I mean, you know, in some ways, the abortion industry is making such a radical shift in a relatively short amount of time. It is not too dissimilar from the concept of Blockbuster and Netflix we remember back in the day, you know, and to where we are now with streaming. Like, that's how different the abortion industry is changing. And we need to be speaking about those changes, including the harms that women are experiencing, because that's really, we're going to see that multiply. You know, the numbers are going up. We've talked about this. The numbers are back up over 1 million abortions every year. That means more women sitting in pews or in these ministries or in families that are connected to the church, folks that are going to be experiencing these kind of difficulties. So we have to be getting the messaging out. And there's nothing more powerful than a real world example of how women are being harmed that this particular study reveals.
Jor-El, the abortion industry and FDA have long claimed that chemical abortion is safe and effective. We talked about the fact that it's not. This study directly contradicts that narrative. How can we help policymakers and the public understand what's really going on?
Talk to them. This is where, you know, as we talked about, it's not a political issue, but several folks have made abortion politics. In truth, abortion should not be something that is either abortion as a choice or being pro-life should not be something that is a party specific thing. We want every party to be pro-life, right? So it shouldn't be political, but it is. And there are policies being formulated right now. We have abortion states and we have life states, as I would say. And, you know, we had this in the past in our country. We said we called it something different. We called them free states and slave states. And so there are policies being made that are either designed to help the abortion industry, which ultimately hurt women, or are designed to help women, which ultimately is going to be a pro-life policy. And so we have to speak to them in language that is respectful but firm about the importance of helping women have alternatives to abortion, wherever they are.
Absolutely. And I would say if someone is listening and they don't know exactly how to get involved, you have a local pregnancy center. Certainly here in Omaha, you can contact the Shore. But wherever people would be listening, there are pregnancy help organizations. There are other pro-life ministries that can give you the language that you can plug in, and you can certainly be of use to those organizations so that we can help those young ladies and young men who are kind of facing abortion issues. So now,
We have great friends. We have great friends who do that particular outreach on a regular basis. I mean, we do, but in small measure because we're working on the pregnancy help side of things. But we have friends who are dedicated to that. You know, our Right to Life friends are.
Yes.
We have others who are focused on keeping this before the policymakers. And now as we move to this kind of helping women, we have to make sure that we're keeping that message front and center. Even our life states, as they do more to kind of take away the supply side for abortion, they still need to work on the demand side. You know, she's seeking abortion because she doesn't feel like there's other alternatives. Well, that's who we are, and that's what we can do. But the states need to own that as well, and the feds need to own that as well. Help her in ways so that she doesn't necessarily feel like abortion is the only path that she can take.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Joel, we talked a little bit about abortion pill. And some of our listeners may not be familiar with the Abortion Pill Network. However, the Abortion Pill Rescue Network was founded in 2012 by Dr. Jor-El Godsey, and then Heartbeat took it over in 2018. Can you share about how all that started and how many centers are currently involved with that?
Oh, that's an amazing story. So Dr. Delgado was only the second doctor to do abortion pill reversal, which abortion pill reversal, simple is the abortion pill is not one pill, it's not two pills, in one pill it's two. If she changes her mind after taking that first pill, there is an option, and that's simply progesterone, right? It's the abortion pill is what's designed to starve the baby of progesterone, and so the Dr. Delgado was just the second doctor. The first was Dr. Harrison in North Carolina in 2006. Delgado had a similar experience with a patient presenting saying, I don't want to go through with this. Can you help me? And he was able to provide a high dose of progesterone. Progesterone, of course, is what a woman produces in her own body. So it's not a foreign thing or exotic cocktail like the abortion pill is. It's actually helping a woman reinforce her own ability to keep that child and carry that child. And so he did that, and then it worked. And so as did the first one in 2006, and he began to just become a champion for that, became very invested in that, studied it, to this date has the largest study of women experiencing that, which we followed that very closely. his wife Liz is a nurse. He roped her into starting a hotline, and some other doctors and some other nurses said yes to all of that. And he basically did this as a doctor with a private practice and a pregnancy center and a national rescue line. So at some point he called me up and he said, wow, we need a few things, and I'm looking for partners to help out. Turned out we had all 4 things that he needed, and he said, well, I'll just hand this over to Heartbeat. And as the Lord would have, that year we were having our conference in Anaheim, just 2 hours north of where he was at in San Diego. And so we took our very first call at Option Line, Abortion Pill Rescue Network, during that week. He handed the keys to that, and we have taken it and run with it and continue to hope to make him proud and continue to answer those calls. We've seen that we're now seeing great responses, and we're seeing with a little bit of challenge with some big tech issues, but we've been able to continue to grow it every year since that time.
Good. And sure, then we want our listeners to know we're part of that network as well. We have
Yes.
another clinic here as well that very heavily involved in the Abortion Pill Rescue Network. We want those girls to call us so we can help reverse what they thought they wanted to do. So we're honored to be a part of that as well.
And thank you for being that. We have several hundred pregnancy centers around the country. We have about 1,000 doctors and practices and hospitals who are part of that, and then about 300 or 400 pregnancy centers that are part of the Abortion Pill Rescue Network. Thank you for being a part of that.
Absolutely. So Jor-El, what role does abortion pill reversal play in offering hope to women who've started a chemical abortion and then changed their minds? You have any stories of one, perhaps?
Oh, I do. There's some powerful ones. One of those that I like to tell this often because it's revelatory. But a young lady who went into abortion clinic and they gave her that first pill, she went back, and even in her car, and she's not the only example of this. This happened a number of times. They call right from the parking lot of the abortion clinic, and some of them actually went back inside and said, "I've changed my mind. I don't want to go through with this. Can you help me?" And their answer is no. Which of course is sad and not true. But then they start looking. And this particular one, she said, I even went to Google page 2. Like, who does that? Who goes past? But she was so desperate. And that's the nature of many of the women that we interact with. Whatever it was that led them to take that pill, I believe it's the Holy Spirit breaks through after that moment, and we are there to help her. We had a woman who got on she was actually a flight attendant and had taken the first pill, and she was at work. And she said, I took this yesterday. I want to make a change. Is there anything you can do? Well, she got on a flight, I believe, on the East Coast, and flew to the West Coast. And by the time she landed, we had someone lined up, just like your physician would help. Someone lined up to help her, able to do that. This is the power of having a national hotline. But also, we've been working in now, I think, 97 different countries. We've been able to help connect people with abortion pill reversal.
So how can local churches better support pregnancy centers in their communities? It's a question I ask all the time because I want people to hear it from someplace other than me.
Well, I think of it in terms of a couple of A's, right? So the first thing is to be aware. Be aware of the outreach that's in your area. You can find that actually pretty easily. Go to optionline.org and just type in whatever city you're in, wherever you're in. Of course, if you're in Omaha, you need to be aware of Assure and all the good work that they're doing. Then you have that option maybe to go and affirm them. Step into the center, stop in for a visit, affirm them, thank them for being there, see what you can do to help as far as being a part of it. And that would be the next day, which is really advocate for them, advocate, tell others about the work that's there. Maybe be more involved as an advocate yourself. Help not just help others come to know them, but be there and do the work. Either help advocate through their outreach in the community or actually in the center where they have needs.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You bet.
So, Jor-El, for listeners who want to get involved, either individually or with their church, what are some practical ways they can take the next step?
Well, again, I just said that. Be aware. Go find out who's doing what, and then stop in and learn, because the folks like you, Tony, are the experts in this field. You live it like I do day in and day out. Most of our friends and supporters don't. So go and ask good questions. Learn about what's going on in the area. What is the challenge that are facing women in their communities? And the pregnancy centers, you said this earlier, the pregnancy centers are a great resource for this. Go and find out. Find out, like, well, what happens? What would a woman do if she thought abortion was the only path? Where would she go? Who would she talk to? And how do you help her not go to those places and not feel the need to talk to those folks? That's a key thing that every community should really look to find out more about what the pregnancy center knows. Pregnancy centers are also perfectly positioned because they know what resources are available around. There's all kinds of resources that most 19, 20, 21, 25-year-olds are not walking around with that a pregnancy center has. They know who to talk to. They know what's available, and it's good for folks to find that out as well. So I would encourage them, stop in and ask good questions.
Very good. Jor-El, is there anything else that you would want our listeners to know about the work that Heartbeat International is doing?
Well, our good work is celebrating good work like Assure. It's making sure that this is happening everywhere possible. We're grateful for leaders like you, Tony, who've been leading the way and innovating along the way and calling everyone out to have great practices that they're doing. It's really just the fact wherever this is happening close to you, know who they are, get connected.
So thank you again, Jor-El. Again, that was Jor-El Godsey, president of Heartbeat International. I hope you were inspired as I was by his passion and commitment to a global movement that puts compassion and hope at the center of the pro-life cause. If you want to learn more about Heartbeat, visit heartbeatinternational.org. And if today's conversation stirs something in you, if you want to get involved, speak up, or serve women in need in the Omaha metro area, we encourage you to take that next step by visiting firststeptolife.com. That's firststeptolife.com. Thanks for listening.
Life Matters is an educational outreach resource of Assure Women's Center in Omaha, Nebraska. To learn more about the ministry of Assure, visit firststeptolife.com. That's firststeptolife.com. There you can learn about the many services we provide, including how we come alongside abortion-minded mothers and empower women to choose life for her and her baby, as well as find our most current broadcasts and all of our past episodes. You can also find information on our website about how you can partner with us in the life-saving work of Assure. Thanks for listening to Life Matters. Join us again next week at the same time right here on BOT Radio Network.